First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for being here. My name is Dr. Chinna Lopez. I'm the coordinator of the UJIMA program, as well as the co-coordinator and co-creator of the Black Academia program here at PCC, the Equity Project. And again, I want to say, who's sharing their screen? Thank you. I would like to say thank you for being here. We know this is an unusual format, but this is a necessary listening forum that we need to have on behalf of our Black students and our Black faculty and staff. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to listen. And before I begin, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge some people. I need to acknowledge Dean Rebecca Cobb, not only as my mentor, but as someone who has been in the same this struggle with our students, with our community, and has always been a support for me when I was a student at PCC. Just so you know, I am a Lancer. I graduated from PCC. Lancer blood runs deep within my veins. My children were raised at PCC, and I'm a lifelong Lancer and proud of it. I also need to acknowledge Armia Walker. Armia Walker, she'll introduce herself, but she's been a team partner and a constant support for Black students, and the co-creator of Black Academia, as well as the co-author of Resolution 20.5. The two of us wrote that together on behalf of our community. And finally, thank you to everyone who's participating as well, who's going to be speaking, students, staff, faculty. But I also need to give a huge shout out to Dr. Cynthia Olivo for her leadership. And I don't want to cry, but I'm going to cry today, so just be prepared. Dr. Olivo, I sent out an email when Ahmaud Arbery was murdered, because the UJIMA students had a club meeting where they vented, they cried, faculty and staff, Black faculty and staff were there. They cried, they expressed how disappointed they were and how hopeless they felt and different things like that. And I recorded a portion of that. And from that, I narrowed it down and I sent it to PCC leadership, key faculty and staff members, and even some groups like TABE, and I can't remember if I sent it to Ale or not, but Dr. Olivo was the first person to hit me back and say, and I'm reading verbatim what she wrote back. Hi, Gina. Thank you so much for sending this and creating a space for our students to discuss, share their pain, and express their thoughts and feelings. Please let me know if you want to do a campus-wide virtual event. So although we put this together, this is before George Floyd. Although we put this together, Dr. Olivo was a catalyst to this happening. And I have to say, there were other leaders, some people did not even get back to me. But Dr. Olivo most certainly got back to me like she always did. And if you look at the letter that I sent out, I'm sorry, there's someone banging at my door. If you look at the letter that I sent out, she was the first one to respond as well. So thank you, Dr. Olivo. Yes, and at this time, I'm going to bring up Dean Rebecca Cobb so that she can go over the guidelines for today's event. Unmute yourself, Dean Cobb.
So I'm Rebecca Cobb. I'm the Dean of Student Life here at Pasadena City College. And first off, if I could have everyone who is not speaking, even if you will have a speaking role today, please mute yourself. We were just unmuting you to find you and identify you. And also, it would be helpful if folks who are not speaking can turn off their video. Okay, so if you are not a speaker, please turn off your video. Not that we don't want to see you or be in physical community with you, but sometimes that helps. And I think it'll help with some of the distractions. So first off, the way this is going to go is before I begin, as we begin anything, I must reach for the ancestors and of my people, because I exist and we stand here or sit here and on the shoulders of our ancestors today. We are wrapped in the love and support of our ancestors. We are guided by the wisdom of our ancestors. And we move forward in courage, knowing that our ancestors are present with us in this moment, no matter how difficult it may be, but we are wrapped in their love and their guidance and their strength. And we move forward knowing that today, and will provide us strength and solace as we have this discussion. So moving forward, Dr. Lopez will moderate. We will hear from some invited allies that have been invited to speak. We will then hear from the voices of some of our students who will read the resolution, and we will utilize the resolution in order to have them share with us how that resolution turns from resolution on paper, writing on paper, to action. Dr. Price will then do the resolve aspect of the resolution. We will open it to Black faculty voices. Trevor Brackett, soon to be Dr. Trevor Brackett, who did an event just prior to this that was excellent for Black athletes and just Black students in general, will speak. We will have Armia Walker, a counselor here, relay the students' call to action. Then we will open it up for comments and sharing by the Black community. And possibly, if there's time, we may open it up for other comments. The most important thing I want to say is this is a listening session. This is a listening session that means you are to listen to the voices of the Black community. We will not tolerate disruption. If you disrupt, we will remove you. This is a listening session. This is not for your opinions about our lived experiences or what you may think you would agree or disagree with. You may feel uncomfortable throughout this. I invite you to sit in your discomfort. For at this moment, if you are not a member of the Black community, I want you to sit in whatever minimal discomfort you may have at this moment. And I want you to amplify that tenfold. Because that is minimally what we are experiencing in this moment. And I dare say what we experience almost every day of our lives. So I invite you to sit in your discomfort and your pain if you're feeling it. This is a listening session. You need to listen to us. You need to listen to our students. This is not an opportunity for you to disagree with lived experiences. And with that, I'll turn it back to Dr. Chinna Lopez.
Thank you, Dean Cobb. At this time, we would like to invite our allies, our coalition allies, Carlos Tito Altamirano, he'll introduce himself, Micaela Mares Tamayo, and Anthony Franco. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina, Dr. Lopez, Dean Cobb, for this privilege. And I'll get right to it. I'm Tito. I'm the coordinator for the Pathways program and the president of the Association of Latino Employees. And on behalf of ALE, this is our supportive statement for our Black Lives Matter movement. The Association of Latino Employees at PCC exists to empower and engage our Latino, Latinx employees by developing, advocating, and responding to the academic, social, political, and economic needs of the community. As such, ALE stands in solidarity with our Black African-American students, colleagues, and community members in the ongoing struggle for humanity and against institutional racism. As allies, ALE supports Resolution 20.5 and the message shared with the campus community from the Association of Black Employees. We furthermore acknowledge the importance of making space to authentically listen to those who experience firsthand anti-Blackness and various forms of violence that include racial trauma. As members committed to sustaining an equity-minded community at our college, we will improve our efforts to create space in ALE for ongoing introspection, learning, and collaboration that affirms our peers in TABE and our Black African-American students and community members. An important part of this work includes affirming the African diaspora as it directly intersects with the Latina, Latino, Latinx identity, and doing better in providing the resources and support to oppose colorism and anti-Black sentiment that persist in our media, our neighborhoods, and even our homes. We dedicate ourselves to modeling solidarity, not just in words, but in action. As the late Eduardo Galeano said, I don't believe in charity. I believe in solidarity. Charity is so vertical. It goes from the top to the bottom. Solidarity is horizontal. It respects the other person. I have a lot to learn from other people. In solidarity, the Association of Latino Employees.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Micaela Mares Tamayo. I am the daughter of Melquiades Mares Jr. and Lorraine Lopez Mares, two first-generation PCC alumni. I am a lifelong resident of Pasadena, the Educational Awareness Chair of ALE, and the Director of Student Equity at our college. I'm humbled by the invitation to share this space with you all and to echo two things that so many of our colleagues, community members, and most importantly, students have reminded us time and time again. First, Black lives matter. Second, we decided as a college, primarily through the advocacy of students, that our mission is to be an equity-minded learning community. That means we decided as a college to be evidence-based, institutionally focused, systemically aware, equity advancing, and we decided as a college to be race conscious. We decided as a college to be an equity-minded learning community. As such, I am responsible, and each of us is responsible to listen to what our students, colleagues, and community members have been telling us about the persistence of systemic racism and its intersections with other forms of oppression. This is the historical and present context in which higher education developed, and it is the context in which our district and our college sit. We decided as a college to be an equity-minded learning community. As such, I am accountable, and each of us must be accountable for where individually and institutionally that promise has not yet been met. To everyone who has made time to join this forum today, and most importantly, to our students, thank you.
So, hi, my name is Anthony Francoso, Dr. Anthony Francoso. I am faculty in sociology and ethnic studies, as well as the coordinator for the CORE program, PCC's reentry program. CORE stands for Community Overcoming Recidivism Through Education. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to stand in solidarity with each and every one of you. Thank you, soon to be Dr. Cobb, for those beautiful words that you shared at the beginning of this. They do mean a ton. So I'm going to read our statement from CORE. As a system, the United States was built on white supremacy and continues to have white supremacy as its primary functioning ideology. As a program, CORE advocates for formerly incarcerated and system-impacted people We cannot separate conversations of mass incarceration from systemic anti-Black racism, since Black communities are predominantly affected by over-policing, hypercriminalization, harsher sentencing, and police violence. The only way to make change is to challenge white supremacy in all its shapes and forms. Therefore, CORE stands in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. CORE stands in solidarity with Black uprisings for liberation throughout the United States that are fighting to dismantle white supremacy in whatever ways they see fit. And no, you, nor I, no one can tell Black folks what their resistance should look like, ever. CORE stands in solidarity with all programs at PCC that continue to fight against white supremacy, Ujima, Blackademia, Amend, TABE, to name a few. CORE stands in solidarity with all Black African-American faculty, staff, and students. Now is the time to listen. But next comes action. If CORE can be of support to any of our Black African-American brothers, sisters, gender nonconforming, or non-binary folks, we are more than willing and we are ready in solidarity.
Thank you, Dr. Francoso. Now we'll hear from our student voices. First, we'll have Masazi Grant.
Hi, I'm Masazi Grant, and I'm one of the co-presidents of Ujima. So most of you, if not all of you, know the climate that we live in today. For those of you that aren't clear of the climate, let me make it transparent for you. From 2013 to 2019, 7,666 Black people have been killed by the hands of the police in the United States. Now let's talk about how we only make up 13% of the US's population, yet we're 2.5 times more likely to die by the hands of the police than white people. Now let's talk more recent. As of June 2020, 601 people have been shot and killed by the hands of the police, and that's only in Los Angeles. I'm going to tell you what a normal day looks like for someone who lives in the color of my skin. We wake up not knowing what the day will bring us. Let's say we go throughout the day and we end up having a pretty good day, just to pick up our phones or turn the TV on and see that yet another one of our brothers and sisters has died by the hands of the police. And we don't just hear about it, we see it. Some of you cannot even begin to understand that level of trauma. And let's not forget how we're expected to suck it up for the next day because the world doesn't stop for us. We have to get up and act as if everything is okay. While we keep replaying the same crime scene in our heads over and over as if we were rehearsing lines for a play. Also, in the midst of all that, what's happening around us, we're expected to suck it up and experience people who have no idea what we're feeling, telling us to get over it and telling us that we're overreacting, because seeing a car on fire makes them more uneasy than seeing someone being murdered right before their eyes. As a Black woman who is a student here at PCC, ask me if I feel safe, the answer is no. I never feel safe anywhere I go. When classes were on campus before the lockdown, I wondered every day if I would make it to class safely. Not only did I have these thoughts, but my brothers and sisters had these thoughts as well. We've been targets for way too long. There's a reason why Black people like traveling in groups. We're less vulnerable that way, especially Black women. I've been followed plenty of times on campus, time and time again by men. That is until they realize I have a male friend trailing behind me. And I'm not the only one. See, a lot of us have a hard time speaking up because we are used to not receiving justice. Instead, we're used to having our voices pushed all the way back to the tiny closet we have located in the cut of the CC building. And even if someone wanted to come and find us and hear our voices, they would have to go on a scavenger hunt just to find them. We cannot keep accepting the short end of the stick with no pushback. It's time to step up. So now I'm going to read the resolution. Whereas the Academic Senate of the Pasadena Area Community College District condemns all hate crimes and discriminatory actions on the basis of race, ethnicity, as well as ability, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, and religion due to physical, mental, and emotional harm these behaviors cause. The American flag is merely a piece of cloth, and the Constitution is but a series of words on parchment, and neither amount to much when they do not reflect and protect each and every American citizen equally. Do not let that statement be just that. We want the campus to put the work in and show us that our Black bodies mean something to you. Make us feel comfortable enough to come to you when we are being discriminated against on campus. Show us that when we do come to you, you guys will take action, just like you would for any other race. We don't just want to see you guys talk the talk, we want to see you walk the walk as well. See us, hear us, and do your duty to serve us. Thank you.
Thank you, Anasazi. Now we'll have Celeste Lewis.
You're muted.
Thank you, Anasazi. Now we'll have Celeste Lewis. Celeste, can you raise, there you go, got you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Celeste Lewis. I live in Long Beach, California, and I'm a student at PCC. I dedicate my time 2 hours a day in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon to travel back and forth to PCC so that I can have a successful educational career. This past Sunday night, I was on my way home from work at around 9 p.m. Being that I work 10 miles away from my home and have no car, I typically take the train home. But because curfew was in place, I had to walk halfway home to meet my mom so that she could take me the rest of the way. When I got across the street from where my mom was parked, a truck of about 25 police officers pulled in front of me and told me I can go ahead and walk across the street. When I proceeded to walk and my back was to them, I heard yelling and I heard them prompting me to put my hands in the air. When I turned around, there were guns pointing at my face. Tasers were aimed, while 6 or 7 officers proceeded to arrest me. All while saying things like, "You don't want to end up like George Floyd. If you resist, I have every right to shoot you in your head." While in police custody for 12 hours, I was denied water, phone call, and medical attention, resulting in me passing out and being dragged across the steel floor face down. This is not all that happened during this moment. However, I can't talk about it because it's so traumatic. Later the night, when I got medical attention, I was told by an African-American police officer that I did not need to be detained anymore. He told me that he would give me a ticket and that I could go home. He apologized that I went through what I went through, and he told me that he sincerely wished that he could help me. I'll read the resolution now. Whereas the recent and past killings of unarmed African Americans have created an environment of anxiety, mistrust, and outrage in the United States for Blacks in America, as well as for their allies. I believe at PCC, there should be change. For students who have experienced race-related trauma outside of school, I believe there should be a program which promotes educational success and aids in students' healing processes. Such program could offer students to be virtually present in classrooms via Zoom or any other virtual engagement app. A professor's job could be to set up a laptop that gives students full view of information written on the board. A student's job would be to inform their teacher that they're not mentally prepared to physically attend class and request a meeting ID, which will help keep traumatized students in a safe and comfortable environment. Will also ensure that there aren't any interruptions in their learning as they are healing from their trauma. I hope what I said today impacted you enough to want to fight for a change. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Celeste. Now we'll hear from Mai Wood.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mai Wood, and I am a Ujimite. I recently moved out here from Chicago, Illinois, and I decided to go to PCC, and I was uber excited for it. And walking into PCC, I just remember feeling so much excitement. Other community colleges did not have a program like Ujima. And being in Ujima has taught me so much about what it's like to be a Black woman, what it's like to be so proud of your heritage, to be so proud of where you're from. Even in these hard times when we were looking for our allies and we were looking for our school to give our support, Ujima every 5 seconds, every step of the way was here to support us. And I keep thinking, like, what if I didn't have Ujima? Since joining Ujima, I had not one, not two, but three strong, beautiful Black women professors. 3. I never had that in my life, where one semester or even a whole year, I had 3 strong Black women professors. And I've been trying to figure out how to express my emotions during this time, how to cope with it. I've been crying, I've been raging, I've been so angry, so hurt. And all I keep thinking when I'm trying to block it out is just, okay, just focus on your schoolwork. Just focus on like this right now. Try and tune it out so you don't get anxious and anxiety. So I put all my attention into my schoolwork. I'm putting all my attention into my teachers, into what they're asking of me. But then I'm realizing I'm giving so much of my attention, I'm giving so much of my time to my school, and I did not get the same recognition back from them. It wasn't until this morning that I even got an email of just recognizing like, oh, we see you. Oh, we hear you. We know what you're going through. And to me, it was just super disappointing because I feel like I give so much effort, I give so much time, and I'm just getting nothing back. And they always want us to be so comfortable with it and want to make that, sorry. And some people want us to make them feel comfortable about the situation. But like Dr. Cobb was saying, the situation isn't for making you comfortable. It's to help you grow. If you feel uncomfortable, that's exactly how you're supposed to feel, whether you think everything is right or wrong. And reading the resolution, it says, whereas these occurrences have led to fear and distress amongst the Black African American community at Pasadena City College. From you, all we're asking is just for a little bit of recognition, just a little bit of knowing that you see us, that you're here to help us when Ujima holds events, attending the events, recognizing the events, and we shouldn't have to come for you. We shouldn't have to fight for this forum to even happen. It should just be like already given. And that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Maya. Now we'll have words from Rafael.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
We can't hear you.
Okay. So first and foremost, I want to thank you, Dr. Lopez, and PCC for giving me an opportunity to speak today on behalf of our community. My name is Rafael Henriques Jr. I'm a little bit startled today, which is why I'm going to start this speech all over again. I'm 24 years old, and this is my 3rd time trying out community college. And I'm originally from New York, and I attended one previous community college in Massachusetts where I didn't have a program like Ujima or AMEN, which stands for African American Male Education Network and Development. I come before you today as a accepted graduate from PCC. I'm graduated in summer 2020, and yeah, I have a 4.0 GPA, and part of that is through these programs that support us in education. Honestly, I've grown up in a hood of Brooklyn, New York, and I've had no role models whatsoever. And the only role models I've had has been Batman, Michael Jordan, and President Barack Obama. And honestly, having these programs such as Ujima and the Men actually helped me have the success that I have today. I've dropped out of college 2 times before, where in Massachusetts I've never had a program to support me such as Ujima. And it wasn't until I put myself in. It wasn't until this dramatic change in my life wasn't until I put myself in a hotel room in solitary confinement for about 50 hours. I did a challenge in New York in about 2018, where I put myself in a room. I put myself in the shoes of. This is actually the first time I've actually shared this story in public. Excuse me. I put myself in the shoes of other people. I stuck myself in a room with food and water inside of a bathroom. I didn't leave that room for 50 hours because I wanted to just be the change that I just wanted to just see what life is about. I just couldn't really find my values. And I just, the number one thing that I thought about inside those 50 hours inside of that hotel bathroom that I stuck myself in was just college. And now I go to my resolution here. Whereas some have taken these injustices as opportunities to become emboldened in their racial bias and violent activities towards Black African Americans, such as in the cases of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray, and Michael Brown, among many recent years. A resolution that I provide here is just, we need to operate from action and not reaction. In other words, we don't have to wait for many of us to be brutally taken advantage of from the police in order for us to correct any injustices in the system. We need to start listening to our communities, to our communities and the Black communities more specifically. And so my question to you all, to the staff and to the faculty of PCC, are all your leaders, I don't know if you all guys are already doing this, but are all your leaders participating on a bi-yearly or every monthly basis in DEI programs, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion? Because when we can actually acknowledge the differences in racial minorities here in America, that's when we can really just create change. We need to have a bigger Black resource center, perhaps the whole building, because a little small thing, just like my colleague here, Sazi said, it's not gonna work for us. And we also need to promote, amend African-American male education, African development from just being a club to a more of an educational program, because I believe that African-American males need some more support. We need something besides the streets to look forward to. You're all about that. We also need additional funding for Amend as well, and for GMA. We need more African-American representation in the entire PCC faculty, so that they don't have to look out to people such as Michael Jordan or Barack Obama or even Batman, a cartoon figure. When I joined the men, I can see counselors such as Jamar Walker and Dr. Trevor Brackett. And I've attended conferences such as the Amen conference, where I see rooms filled with doctors. And after that day, I just wanted to just become a doctor, become the first doctor in my family. And that's everything for today.
Thank you, Rafael. Next, we'll have Antonio Cervantes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Antonio Cervantes. I don't necessarily want to speak about, what I've dealt with, because of course I'm Black, so of course I've dealt with racism and stuff, beyond my years. I just honestly want to talk about, what's going on now, like, why is this still happening? America's always told us to pull ourselves up from the straps of our boots, but we ain't never had no boots or no straps. And, it pisses me off because everybody always complains about the system being broken, and it's not broken. I'm gonna just be honest with you guys. It's more of, it's not built for us. It's doing exactly what it wants to do. It's doing exactly how it was built, but it's just not built for Black people. I woke up this morning, early in the morning, to, get ready for this meeting because I know it's important. But the first thing I do is go to Instagram, and the first thing I see is a Black man, of course, and it's recent, a Black man on the floor with 2 cops on him, and it gets to the point where you hear a shot, and he stops moving. I'm pissed. I don't feel like saying good morning to America. I'm Black. And I just think it ain't fair because, everybody expects us to stop talking about racism and stop talking about being oppressed. But you mean to tell me if I can't jog or eat ice cream in my own house, or watch or be with my aunt and play video games and watch her get killed for no reason, or run away and get killed for no reason, then this ain't fair. This ain't for me. And the way how people, first off, if you're talking about all lives matter, you need to be ashamed of yourself, because how are you going to do a protest to our protest? And it don't make no sense. I need people to answer this question for me. If all lives matter, then why is there a protest called Black Lives Matter? Answer me that. I need to know that question. With the tangerine in the office and hiding in a bunker and sending out troops and everybody to stop peaceful protests, that ain't fair. He needs to leave off top. And for the people of descendants from Caucasian, if you are silent and if you are not speaking about this, and if you just keep saying, oh, my friends are Black, so I care, or if you posting a Black screen saying Blackout Tuesday on your post, that don't make you anti-racist. It just makes you feel like you a part of the move, but you're not. So if you ain't using your privilege to speak out on something like this, then you a coward off top. You just worse as the police officers. And I don't even call this police brutality anymore. I call this murder. David McAtee died for his community. The man literally has his own restaurant, and they killed him. And all he ever did was just feed peaceful protests. And he even fed free cops before he even died. So this ain't even fair, man. Like I'm telling you, I'm finna graduate. I know I'm not finna graduate. I'm gonna transfer very soon to Morehouse because that is what I want. But when I found out that a Black couple had got pulled over from coming from those schools and got tased, and one of them had seizures, I lost my mind. Are people going crazy or something? Because I don't understand it. I don't understand how everybody is not frustrated as I am. I'm tired of crying. I'm to the point where I want to go ultra instinct and go off on everybody because this ain't even fair. If you ain't making no change, then please stay out the way. And for my people who aren't Black, but who are using their voice and their privilege, I thank you. I salute you. But if, like I said, if you ain't using your privilege and if you ain't doing what you're supposed to do to help us out, because let me get this straight. Black people didn't start racism. Black people didn't start any of this. So this isn't our mess to clean up. It's the Caucasians, it's people who are oppressing us. It's their job to fix this. So while we have to go around and clean up their mess, this ain't even fair. I'm gonna say my resolution and I'm gonna just continue what I'm doing. Whereas the numerous fatalities associated with unarmed Black African Americans have caused our Black students and staff to be further marginalized, stigmatized, and vilified, resulting in the fear of harm and of possible death just for existing. And my thing to say to PCC, before I even came here, the first thing that I went to was Ujima, and that's off top. Every day of my day when I go to school, I go to Ujima, even when it's closed. I'm up there in that office. You will see me laying down on the couch doing some homework, writing music, whatever, and then I will go on with my day. 95% of the time, I'm up there at Ujima. 5% of the time, I'm at the library. I just don't want to be involved around this because if I can't eat ice cream in my house, if I can't walk peacefully at night, if I can't do any of that, bro, then I just don't want to be a part of this no more, bro. This ain't even fair. So my thing to PCC, what you guys need to do, honestly, is be a part of be involved in our stuff. When we have meetings and when we have all of these amend programs and stuff like that, be involved. Just be involved. Show that you actually care. And don't say you care. You need to show it. Because at this point in time right now, there's no time for faking the funk. There's no time for just talking about it. You need to show it. That's my piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you so much. Next, we have Trinity Jolly.
Unmute her, Dr. Lopez.
Raise your hand, Trinity, so I can find you. Okay. Go ahead, Trinity. Unmute yourself. Go ahead, unmute yourself. There you go. Hold on. Unmute yourself.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Trinity Jolly, and I started here at PCC at the age of 16 after leaving Arcadia High School because I didn't feel represented as a Black student, no Black History Month acknowledgement, nothing. As I've been here at PCC, I became a board member of like Avison Charter Schools. I've been very involved with the community and recently have been accepted into 24 colleges all at the age of 17. I'm a sociology major with hopes of being a lawyer to fight cases like George Floyd and things like that. And with that being said, my fear is as it doesn't matter how much I accomplish, I could end up like Breonna Taylor. She was already established in her career. It doesn't matter if I'm a doctor, what city I live in. I wake up with a fear that I can die, and no matter how hard I try to basically defy every stereotype cast upon me, I can still wake up and die tomorrow for no reason. Like, I have to sit here and explain to my 8-year-old little brother why we're being killed for no reason. Like, y'all can educate yourselves, but y'all are not the ones experiencing what we're going through. I work so hard because I know education is like the only way to get things done. And I truly am a firm believer that the only way things will change is if you get people that are minorities into these positions of power. Because once these protests die down, this is more than a hashtag. This is more than a protest. You guys can post as many Black screens as you want to, but wherever y'all before and where are y'all about to be afterwards? We need new Black judges. We need more Black prosecutors. We need more people to stand in solidarity with us farther than just the hashtag. Because like I said, when this is over, then what? 2 weeks from now? How many other I Can't Breathe campaigns have we had from Eric Garner? Like, how many more? That's my question. Like, more needs to be done. And as my experiences at PCC, there's often times where I'm the only Black student in the classroom. As far as many of my other peers, when topics such as racism or slavery comes up, or just or poverty, there's been multiple times where my teachers have looked to me for answers. My thing to say to faculty is, if you know this is a part of your lesson plan, you need to be educated on this. Because my question is, when there's no Black students in the classroom, what are you telling these students? Because there's been many times where biases from the teacher have been used to teach these students. And then I'm just gonna read the resolution and then say one more thing afterwards. Whereas 72% of Black African-American college students attend the community college, making the system the gateway to higher education and career development, which are necessary components for community strength and vitality. Colleges such as PACCD must be visible advocates for the student population. And then my last thing to say to the staff, one, it's completely unacceptable that you guys have not addressed the situation. I've had one teacher out of my 6 say anything about this. If you guys support us, then speak up. And as well as all of you guys that may think this is an over there issue, Pasadena PD are not saints. We have Kendrick McDade, 2016, Reginald Thomas, yeah. And then 2017, Pasadena PD left their jurisdiction to go beat a man at an Altadena gas station. So acknowledge what's going on in your city first. You have Tyrone Hampton, you have John Kennedy, many people that are of color in your in the city chairs and offices. Go to your city council meetings, express your concerns, support us off campus just like you guys need to support us on.
Thank you so much, Trinity. Next, we'll have Destiny Cable.
Hello, you can hear me, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So hello, everyone. My name is Destiny Cable. I'm 20 years old and I am a first year student at Pasadena City College. I'm a theater major. I have a lot to say, but I'm gonna try and make it very quick. But I want you to hear my words and understand them and listen and just really take them in. First, I wanna start by talking about our newfound allies and people that have kind of just jumped on board to the whole Black Lives Matter movement. Understand that the help has always been needed, and I don't believe in giving you a pat on the back for something that should be morally a given. If the protection and well-being of Black bodies has not been something at the top of your priorities list, I don't believe you. The help has always been needed, and we are letting you help. I am glad that a lot of you guys are here. It means a lot that a lot of you guys are here in this fight at the moment, but if you're going to get defensive over me criticizing you for not having been there, because why wasn't everyone else enough? Why wasn't Tamir Rice enough? Why wasn't Mike Brown enough? Why wasn't Trayvon Martin enough? And now all this is happening right now. Your activism is not coming from the heart, and it's not because you actually care. If your activism is going to, I don't want your ego involved activism. I'll say that, because that's where it's coming from, a place of. The next thing that I'm going to say is, in regards to PCC, when students bring incidents that deal with racism or microaggressions to your attention, coming from the students and sometimes even teachers and faculty, take that in and hold those people accountable and take it seriously, because it is seriously. Because what happens is when we don't take those instances and those encounters seriously is we allow these people, these bigots, to continue and kind of slip through the cracks. We allow them to slip through the cracks and infiltrate systems and spaces where they will, where they will deal with Black people and terrorize Black bodies. And I mean teachers, psychologists, therapists, doctors that have no regard for Black bodies and Black life. I also want to say that in my first year at PCC, I had a great time. I love PCC. I love being in Ujima. It's given me the Black family that, quite frankly, I never had, because I'm not surrounded by a large Black population in my community. But when I did get to PCC, I also noticed and experienced faculty that definitely did have some kind of superiority complex when dealing with Black students. And like, in terms of offering resources that are there for students, what other purpose are the resources there for if not to give them to other students? There was this woman that kind of gave me a condescending attitude and did not make me feel welcome when I asked her what the resources were that I could potentially benefit from and that I could apply myself to. She made me feel like the resources aren't there for me. And I feel like as a faculty, you all need to understand that it is your job to support Black students in whatever way that means for them and whatever way they need it. I'm also gonna say that for faculty specifically, white people, and at times even our non-Black people of color, are always in this constant cycle of unlearning, right? So you guys need to hold each other accountable. Holding your fellow friends, your family members, and your fellow faculty accountable. You cannot call yourself an ally if you let racism and anti-Blackness fester within your presence. So that means if you hear one of your faculty members, or if you just hear any one of your colleagues saying something or participating in behavior that you yourself don't agree with, why would you let that continue if you know that that doesn't sit right in your soul and in your spirit? You can't be an ally if you're willing to let that perpetuate. Now I'm going to read the resolution. Whereas with the frequency of these incidents, students have reported feelings of isolation, despair, and vulnerability. Some also reporting episodes of post-traumatic stress that come with experiencing continuous historical racialized trauma. I hope you guys take everything that I've said into consideration and learn something from it. Don't be so quick to be defensive. But at the end of the day, we have one goal, and we just want you to be able to learn with the intent to understand. So yeah.
Thank you, Destiny. Next, we have Chinna Simpson. Chinna. We can hear you now, Chinna. Yes.
Okay. My name is Chinna Simpson. I'm co-president of the UGMA program, and I am a 2020 PCC graduate. I've never been harassed by the police before, but I've been dealing with racism my entire life. From a little girl in kindergarten not understanding why I was always the one made fun of, up to 12 years later, and a professor still wondering if I'm in the right class because it is for advanced students. I am heartbroken that so many people are dying because they do not have the correct skin color, and so many people do not care. I attended my first protest 2 days ago in my hometown of Monrovia, and while I'm proud that I was there, the question is, why did I have to be? Why do I need to go out and protest for my rights that I should already have? It is shameful knowing that in some people's eyes, my skin resembles the color of dirt, which I have been told to my face. It is painful knowing that excuse me. It is painful knowing that to some, my life is considered worthless. And it makes me angry knowing that in order for things to change, I have to be here and explain why I matter. I'm gonna read our resolution. Whereas Pasadena City College is home to merely 1,552, which is 3.84% of Black or African American students, leaving this vulnerable population of students susceptible to various forms of bigotry, microaggressions, stigmatization, and discrimination. My call to action is, I would like more Black and faculty staff at PCC. I transferred to PCC because I felt unwelcome at my previous school. UGMA is the only reason why I'm graduating this year. I would like more students to be allowed into our program because every Black student needs this experience. I would like for professors to know and understand what microaggressions are so we do not have to face them in your classroom. And I would also like more classes that pertain to my experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Chinna. And finally, we have Deon Shelton, AS President.
Hello, everyone. My name is Deon Shelton, and I am the president of Associated Students. I am a 31-year-old Black woman. I am going to be a PCC graduate transferring to UC Riverside to pursue a career in education administration because I know as a Black woman what I've experienced at the hands of this system. It is not enough to hear these students. I'm not even gonna tell y'all what I've experienced at PCC because honestly, it is not even at the magnitude at these students that you just heard or the students that you do not hear have experienced. You all who are on this call, who are not African American or non-people of color, you have failed all of the students at PCC. Because you have been in education for 20, 30 plus years, allowing this system to continually put and oppress my people. You should be ashamed of yourselves sitting in on this conversation, trying to act like this is going to make you feel better. This ain't here to make you feel better. How dare you try to sit in here on this conversation and act like you're doing your part when you're sitting complacent in a system that constantly hurts my people. Continually marginalizes my people. The African American community at PCC is less than 4%. Why is that? When Pasadena City has a large Black community, why is it that only under 4% of the students are Black and endangered at that? How dare you sit on this call acting like this gonna make it better when it's not, when you benefit from a system that constantly puts my people underneath your foot. We're not here to cry. We're not here to ask. We're here to tell you, you need to stand up now. You need to do what it is you need to do to protect my people and the future of my people. Do you know, since last week, how many professors have hit me up telling me, I understand what's going on in the world, but you still got to turn in your final in order to complete your course? How dare y'all? Many African-American students, including myself, have been unemployed since March. And because of the culture and the mindset that this society, this country has, they have not received the benefits or the money to sustain themselves since March, myself included. Why? Because people like you vote for the system to stay in place so it can keep benefiting you. Don't come in here and talk about we support you when you really don't support me. When people that look like you come at people that look like me sideways on a daily basis. It doesn't have, I shouldn't have to get a doctor's degree, a doctorate, a PhD for you to respect my voice. I shouldn't be the president of Associated Students for you to listen to me. I shouldn't have to be a part of Ujima for you to listen to me. I'm here to tell you, you need to check yourself and your privilege, period. Because we ain't asking no more. The country is tired. Civil unrest until we get justice. You will not get to sleep peacefully because I don't get to sleep peacefully, period. I got to wake up every day worrying about my future children who are not on this planet yet. I got to worry about my 70-year-old mother and father who fought this battle before me. I got to worry about my nephews, my cousins, my brothers, my sisters, strangers. Every day of my life, excuse me, I almost cussed. Every day of my life, I'm not asking, I'm telling you, stand up now or remove yourself. How dare you call yourself an educator? Claim that PCC is the most diverse community college in California community college system, and yet you ignore the calls, the cries, the reports of racial injustice in your very own institution. How dare you go home at night and take pride and tell your friends, oh, I'm not racist, I work at PCC. We're one of the most diverse colleges in the community college system. Miss me with it. I'm angry. I'm not crying. I didn't cry I was paralyzed on Saturday because I felt hopeless. I felt like my voice didn't matter. I felt like, what can I do to stop this? This is what I'm doing. I'm telling you to sit in your place of privilege and actually check it. How dare you work at PCC and you hear these voices of these students and you ignore them? How many conversations have you been in where we're talking about diversity and inclusion, and yet the African-American male is always, or the African-American female at that, is always the last to be talked about? Why is it that we have to have this conversation right now about a resolution that's getting pushed back from your colleagues and your peers when we just passed a resolution saying the same thing against Asian American students, and passed a resolution in October for Latinx and American students of the Latin descent, and passed one for the people of the LGBTQ community? Why is this one getting pushed back? Check that. I'm tired. We tired. And we not gonna let up until the system is dismantled and rebuilt with the inclusion of my Black community. Now, I'm going to read the whereas, okay? So, whereas the Academic Senate of PACCD affirms its commitment to the security and the well-being of Black African American campus community and its willingness to create a supportive and state and equitable environment that would allow these and other students to thrive. And what that means is you hire more Black staff that's not the custodial help. You hire more Black counselors. Do you know, I came to PCC when I was fresh out of college, and I did not once, one, it took me forever to get a counselor. Two, when I met the counselor, they didn't give a damn about me. It took me until my second year coming back to PCC at 26 to find a Black counselor who actually gave a damn about my education. Wanda Scroggins is her name. If you don't know who she is, you need to get to know her. She is a wonderful, smart, educated woman. Support programs like the EOP&S program, Ujima, Black Academia. There is no set funding in PCC for these programs. So how are you going to sit here and say that you are an educator, that you want to hope better for the future, when there are things in place at this institution that marginalize my community continually? We have to fight. There's no reason why Dr. Lopez has to sit every year and ask for grants from the Student Success Fund, for Ujima, for Black Academia, for them to give students the opportunity to see what it's like at universities, to see what it's like to have people who are educated look like them. And I'm done, but check it and fix it.
Thank you, Deon. Thank you very much. Now we'll have Dr. Paul Price read the resolved.
Good afternoon. First, I want to commend the students for their comments. Also, I want to commend Chinna for the work she's doing with our students. And further, I want to encourage you, in the words of Curtis Mayfield, quote, keep on pushing. Regarding the resolve that the Academic Senate of PACCD denounces the murdering of unarmed Black African Americans and the discriminatory actions that manifest against this community. The Academic Senate joins with the Black African American community at Pasadena City College and abroad in affirming our students against the very real possibilities of violence against them due to their perceived racial and ethnic identity. We support our allies in the effort to end the slaying of unarmed citizens in the Black African American community. Let it be resolved.
Thank you, Dr. Price.
You're
now
welcome.
We'll hear from Trevor Brackett, Dr. Trevor Brackett. Dr. Brackett, can you raise your hand, please, so that we can unmute you? Unmute yourself, Dr. Brackett. There you go. We can't hear you.
Thank you.
There you go.
So much. I just want to first and foremost commend all of our students for really using this platform to be 100% authentic about how you all feel as Black students at PCC. I think the courage in which you all are showcasing today is amazing. And I want to applaud each and every single one of you. As I realized I was going to speak when Dr. Lopez asked me, to join this conversation, I just kept asking myself, what am I going to talk about? How am I going to frame what I'm talking about, correctly and politically correct? I am a Black man, 100% proud to be a Black man. I am a man who's been harassed and stereotyped by LAPD. I am a man who once had the Southwest Police Station entire precinct with 8 AR-15s and 9mm and every gun you could, shotguns pointed at my head because of mistaken identity. So I'm able to relate to each and every single thing that my brothers and sisters have been alluding to. Furthermore, God has blessed me to be able to overcome all of the adversities in which I did, to be a voice here for my students, and not only my students, my Black colleagues as well. A lot of us are tired. We're tired. And it's something about this one. Something about this one out of all of the other ones. There's something about this one to where my Black people, we're uniting and we're tired. We have Black faculty members and staff that I know that's texting me, Trev, I just want to just quit because I feel we don't get the support that we need to get. This is my first year. I'm a tenure track and I'm not tenured. So I feel like I'm taking a risk by me even speaking right now because of my livelihood, because I'm nervous because I'm gonna provide for my 3 children, my wife. But I tell you what, God has blessed me with a voice and I'm gonna ride or die for mine, for my Blacks. Because that's why I overcame everything that I've overcame. That's why I finished my doctorate, because I want their voices to be heard. I want them to feel like we care for them. By me seeing my queens on here, I had a single mother who's no longer here, but she fought to not get deported back to Belize to give us a better future. And I promised my mom before she closed her eyes that I'm gonna be significant. I'm gonna fight for what's right. And I'm gonna do what I have to do to make sure that my students know that Mr. Brackett cares for them 100%, no matter what that may be. And furthermore, I was thinking, I did a poll. I'm an executive board member for Amanda, the national board, African American Education Network Development. And I connected with all of our students across the state. We have 115 California community colleges. And I asked them, and we have students in each and every single school throughout the state. And our group, I said, how many of your professors reached out to you to find out, to see how you all were just doing? And when I tell you, the response that I got was none. That bothered me so much, because as educators, how could we not even have the right or the decency, I should say, to even just check on our students that we so-called say we love and who we want to serve? We can't even check and see how they're doing as human beings. That's a problem. We have to create a sense of belonging for our students of color, Blacks, Latinos, the ones that's getting in cars, that's getting released from being incarcerated. We have to create some type of sense of hope for that population. And it's as us as educators, we have the platform to do it. We just have to be willing to do it. How many of my colleagues that's not Black reached out to a faculty member or even know a Black faculty member's name on PCC? Besides the Zoom call prior to this, how many of individuals that we know, you know their first and last name? Because there's been times I walk on campus, we just walk, I know we're colleagues, we just walk and people don't even say hi. Can you imagine if I feel like that as a faculty member, if other African-American males or other African-American women as faculty members feel like that, can you imagine how our students are feeling? So I want to challenge my colleagues. I want to challenge our administration to where we could provide some type of better services for our students, for our faculty. Last but not least, to my students. Again, I was preparing for this and I came across a poem that really, truly just, I thought about what she was saying. Our ancestors, they died for us, right? They've tried to provide a way for us to be successful as Black people. And it's called Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? Because I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a Black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the side. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brackett. Thank you. Next, we'll have the call to action by Armia Walker. Unmute yourself, Armia. There you go.
Okay, my name is Armia Walker. I'm a full-time tenure-track counselor at Pasadena City College, co-coordinator for Black Academia, co-author of the resolution, mother of 3 Black children, wife of 1 Black husband, who I pray for daily, and I am the instructor for all these beautiful Black faces. And I'm a colleague to all these other beautiful Black faces, all of which who I named, including myself, on a daily basis. You have no idea the weight that we carry on a daily basis. But like the poem that Trevor just read, Dr. Brackett just read, God has gifted us a resiliency you will never know. And that is our power. And we carry that power. And sometimes it looks like an attitude. Sometimes it looks like defiance. But to be honest, we can't provide that comfort for you. We need it for ourselves. We need it for our families. And we need it for the students that we teach. Let me say this, these students are not children, these are grown people. that are fighting to create a legacy for their families. These are not children. How dare you call them children? These are college students. And you will respect them and acknowledge them as academians and scholars. That's how you look at them next time you see a Black student on campus. I want you to picture them as a scholar and as an academician. Don't see them as a child. How dare you? And I love y'all. Y'all are my colleagues. And I got love for all the allies. But remember, don't let that slip out your mouth. These are grown people trying to make a way for their families. And I'm going to read their call to action. I will read common themes that came up because there were a lot. So the first theme that arose, the call to action to the campus, is we need to make our students feel more welcome. Y'all figure that out. We need more resources for Black students, and we need our Black students to be made aware of these resources. And that needs to be intentional. We need more participation from faculty and staff, not just at our events, but to acknowledge us when you see us. And that goes along with making us feel welcomed. We need more allies to speak up when their colleagues say racial and marginalizing comments. We need you to recognize our trauma and not say that we are overreacting. You need to not wait until someone gets killed to check on us. You need to hire more faculty and staff that are Black and of African descent. We need more funding for Black programs, and we should not have to beg for it. We need more classes reflecting our experience, our Black experience, and not just during Black Heritage Month, and not the same historical figures, but current figures who are making a change. We need to hire more equity-minded staff and faculty. And it should be a priority and a requirement for diversity training and highlighting the Black experience. We need to provide larger, more visible spaces for Black students, and not those just hidden in the corner in a back room. And our spaces should not have to be fought for. We need to increase the population size of Black students on campus, and it has to be an intentional outreach. We need more current faculty and staff who are tenured to be required to take microaggression and equity training. And that's all I have. And that was reflected from the students. And we are so proud of you. And don't let any of this deter you from pursuing your goals, and know that us faculty and staff, we have your back. That's it.
Thank you, Armia. Now we'll have Dean Rebecca Cobb.
So I'm going to echo my awe of our students and my colleagues, my Black colleagues, and the power they bring to this space. The power in the midst of all of this that they bring to this space. The courage to bare their souls in a company of people we don't know who's on this. We don't know who's on this call. They are courageous because we asked them to do it. And there are people on this call that have undermined them, sat in classes, called them out, ignored them, silenced them, forced them to drop classes in order to save themselves from the abuse they get in class. and they have the courage to stand before you. I am in awe of them. And because we need to take this beyond personal to structural, I wanted to make sure that we talk about what racism looks like structurally at PCC. And these are a few examples, because this is not about patting us on the back or holding us. I actually dare anyone who's not Black to live Black for more than one day. So an example is, at the end of the Black History Month, we had a culminating ceremony in Mirror Pools, at which we had oversight of 4 campus police officers standing around an event that had maybe 50 people. At the exact same time, we had multiple events happening in the quad, Chinese New Year's, we had off-campus people, multiple events happening in the quad. And yet 4 fully sworn, uniformed officers felt the need to have their presence felt at a Black History Month event with 50 people. I know that doesn't mean that was racist, right? I know, that was a racist. Multiple times on a daily basis, probably, we have Black male staff who park in staff lots and get asked for their ID and questioned why they are parking in that staff lot. And these are people who are not new. These are people who've worked here. And they're not just asked by cadets or campus police. They are asked and accosted by other members of this campus. You can't park here. Why are you here? Can I see your ID? What? I know that's not racist. Non-Black employees using coded racist language against Black men to get them disciplined. You know, we just saw Amy Cooper say, I'm gonna call the police and tell them you're African-American. So that happens right here at PCC. Employees, my colleagues, your colleagues, run to human resources and say, I feel threatened by this Black man. This Black man is being aggressive. I don't feel safe. And do you know what happens? This isn't investigated, really. The Black men get called in and challenged on their part and their role. And some of this time, this happens when the Black men are in their own offices. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not racist. That's not structural racism. Areas on this campus headed by Black women are understaffed and under-resourced. And yet resources and staffing are allocated and offered to white managers and deans who are doing the exact same work as those Black women managers. The Black women managers are undermined. And then when we say, but we've been asking for the same thing for 5 years, and this white colleague just asked for it right now, we get told, you're doing such a good job. And that translates to, I'm sorry, you keep working 4 times harder than your colleagues. You'll be all right. And then when we can't work 4 times harder because we're going to kill ourselves for an institution who doesn't care about us, then we are brought in and we get talked to about our lack of performance, right? Or lack of production. And then the accolades go to these other areas that have been resourced and staffed. Well, hell, if I had all that, or these other women had all that, we'd be excellent, because we already work 4 times harder. I'm sorry, that's not structural racism. The college would have no relationship with the local Black community if it were not for the personal and individual relationships that Black employees have with the Black community. Absolutely none. They don't go to the Black community. This college has not gone to the Black community. They rely on the individual relationships of Black employees at this campus so that they can say that they have done something for the Black community. Black students are being asked on a disproportionate basis to show their IDs and their reason for being on campus. I get these reports so regularly, and particularly this occurs on the shuttles. We have had a number of Black students pulled off of shuttles because they refuse to leave because they are being asked for IDs in which no one else on the shuttle has been asked for an ID. But that's not structural racism. As a Black employee, we are often told as we go into meetings with our white or other colleagues, don't push them too hard. Don't talk too much about, don't push them too hard on Black things or being anti-racist, because you know they will come after you. You know they will tell on you. You know that will make them uncomfortable. So you can't say this, that, and the other. And I can't tell you how difficult it is to go to meetings knowing that you're supposed to be silent, knowing that we're tiptoeing so that we don't upset or make anybody else just uncomfortable, but nobody cares if we are regularly and constantly uncomfortable by the lack of care and concern. And I just want to say that Black lives matter today, they matter tomorrow, and they'll matter down the line. And I'm gonna say, I agree with Deon. Where have you been? We got 243 people here. I don't know how many people on this spring. Where have you been? And I'm also gonna say that were it not for the efforts of Black employees, what would the college be doing for Black students in this moment? Because it is Black employees. And let me remove Cynthia Olivo from that, because it is her leadership that keeps equity and anti-racism at the forefront for this college. And if she were not here, we would not be getting the accolades for advancement in equity. And so once again, if Cynthia were not here and it were not the work of Black employees, what would you, Pasadena City College, be doing for Black students in this moment? And I'm done.
Okay. Thank you, Dean Cobb. Thank you. At this point, I'm going to bring this to a close. I want to, again, thank you all for staying. But first and foremost, you students are amazing. You're the reason that we do what we do. You give me hope. My mentors were here. I hope we mentor you, because this struggle is not over. This fight is not done. And as you can see, Sometimes it's about us for us. Thank you to our allies. That's good and all, but we're family and we got to look out for each other for sure. Again, I hope you take the call to action that the students developed. Those were not from us, that the students developed. And PCC, we hold you accountable for making those things come true for our students. You asked, what can we do? How can we help? I don't know what to do. I got so many emails and so many phone calls and text messages. What can we do? Well, now you know what you can do. This is just the beginning, but now you know. Because my son, who was raised at PCC, who you all saw me pregnant with, who you saw came to my baby showers and saw me raise my child, my children. He is too beautiful of a person to have to do this again in the next 2 or 3 years. If you say you love us, if you say you love him and our children and these adults that have spoken to you today, you are inexcusable if you leave here unchanged. And if you don't join us in the fight, because we're fighting for our lives. That's it and that's all. Thank you for joining us. This is the first of many forums that we'll be having. Again, I have to shout out Dr. Olivo. Cynthia, you rock my world. Dean Cobb, Dr. Price, Armia Walker, Trevor Brackett, and all the students who participated today. Thank you for being there when I asked. Thank you, allies, for coming without me having to ask. You are a blessing, and PCC, I know, is a place where great things can happen. Let's live up to that legacy and to the mission that we say we have. Many blessings to you all. That's it and that's all. Happy birthday to Chinna.